Hi, my name is Iklavi Gupta and I work as a solution architect and I'm based in Sydney, Australia. In my line of work, I meet with many CIOs and CTOs, and many of them have mentioned to me that the increasing cloud cost is becoming one of their major worries. They find the situation more bizarre as initially the cloud was put in forward to them as a way of decreasing the cloud cost and a way of increasing efficiencies. Unfortunately, what they're finding is that the cloud cost is almost reaching to the same level as before and even more in certain scenarios. I got intrigued with this and I started looking into the matter of why the cloud costs are increasing. As I investigated, I found one of the areas where people are making more mistakes is related to the app services and their choice of app service plan related to that. This presentation will highlight some of the misconceptions people have related to app service plan and which will enable them to take more informed decisions and which will eventually help in reducing the overall cloud cost. Let's get started and I hope you enjoy the session. Thank you. Let us start with a scenario. You have created an app service and opted for a premium V3 P1 V3 app plan. Now this plan comes with 30 virtual machines. After deployment, you configure the scale in and scale out functionality of the app service because you want the system to be efficient. By the day's end, you notice that you only utilize 2 VMs. Now, what do you anticipate Azure will charge you for? Will it bill you for 2 VMs or will it charge you for all the 30 VMs? I'll give you some time to think about it. If you think that the answer is 2, then this video is for you. I've conversed with numerous developers and majority including some the senior developers will think that because app services is platform as a service, it should be intelligent and it should charge you only for the usage. But that's not the case. This assumption is wrong. You will be charged for all the 30 VMs regardless of the utilization. Even if you are only using one VM, but the customer will be charged for the entire plan. So the plan is more important than the usage. Once once we say that, the question in my mind comes is like, why is that happening? Why is Microsoft charging us for all the VMs when we have been smart enough to use scale in and scale out functionality and utilize just 1 or 2 VMs? As I looked into the matter, I said the reason lies behind a complexity of scale in and scale out with virtual machines. Let's get a bit deeper into it. Now, when you're setting up a VM, what do you need? You set up you have a hypervisor and which then installs operating system over it. Then it installs some libraries and apps over it. Now that's the way a virtual machine is configured. Now that that means that the virtual machine will take a little bit more time than usual for being created. Now how does that impact? So what it impacts is that it cannot be created at runtime in response to the traffic. So that makes the scale in and the scale out feature where to implement at runtime very difficult. So the question is, how is Microsoft handling this? So the way Microsoft handled this situation was like this. Whenever you're selecting an app service plan is a combination of virtual machines and a load balancer. Now, suppose for giving you an example of premium V3 P1 V3 app service plan, it comes with a load balancer and 30 VMs. Now, when you assign an app service plan to an app service, what Microsoft does is it installs the app service on all the 30 VMs. And when you are scaling in or scaling out, the only thing that happens is the load balancer decreases or increases the number of VMs the traffic is being diverted to. So essentially, Microsoft has, even if you're using one or two VMs, Microsoft has to keep all the other VMs enabled for you even when you're not using it, so that if the scenario comes in to use them, they can be easily added or removed from the load balancer. That's why the Microsoft charges you for all the 30 VMs even if you have used only one or two of them. They To conclude, I strongly I feel that the Microsoft's implementation of scale in and scale out is not one of the greatest in the world, and rather it's kind of misleading as well, because to most of the developers they start thinking, oh, we should be charged, I'm using scale in scale out, so I should be charged only for one or two. But that's not entirely the case. And even the story behind why exactly you'll be charged for the whole set of VMs is not very visible to the developers. And that's why they make mistakes while choosing app service plans. I've seen people creating P3 V3 plan which is 30 VMs for a single app, and it's running. The cost is huge. So this is my advice to the developers. Whenever you're choosing an app service plan, think of it as a bunch of VMs which are always available with you. Those VMs will have specific memory, CPU, and the disk space. Now, when you know that they are always available to you, you can think of how to utilize them better. So you create a new app service, see if there is an existing app service plan you can utilize. Make sure you use Azure Monitor to see how your app service plan is being utilized right now. So if your app service plan is not being utilized fully, you can use the same app service plan rather than trying to create a new one. Now, once you understand how the app service plan works and what's behind it, you can define your own strategies which can reduce the overall cost of operations. I hope that helps you reduce the overall cloud cost. Please feel free to touch base with me and if you have any questions. Thanks a lot for listening. Have a great day.